Then we look at sannyasis. Nowadays, all young sannyasis are there. And the kids will come and say, Moms look so young. Look at his glow and wow and this and they relax. It is not about all that stuff. It is about taking care of yourself and moving yourself in that direction. And get influenced by the right people again. And we need to have that intent within that sankalpa, willpower, that I'm going to look for the right people. Satsanga. I want to be, see, you can't actually look with a torch. So you have to make a sankalpa within that. Henceforth, I will associate with the right people. You know, you request the Prakriti, the divinity, the Guru to get those people for you. You can't search it by yourself. You have to look by yourself, but still, how far can you look? So you look here and there, but at the same time, surrender this sankalpa that I want to be in satsanga. Oh divine, oh Guru, please open the doors for me. And keep your eyes open, and you will see the doors open, and you can do what is needed. But Ashapindam is there. It will drag us and say, I know this is very good, but maybe later on. So be aware of that also. Okay. So next, we'll take the next shloka, verse 16. Agre vahani prishte bhanu ratro chubuka samarpita janu Karatalabhiksha Sarutalavasah Tadapi namunchat Yashapashah. Actually, we tried recording this in a different tune, which would be more jubilant, more happy, and more positive. But sadly, the text is so powerful that whatever raga you use, whatever tune you use, you're going to feel little low. So then MS Subbulakshmi and all have sung it very fast with a lot of music behind, which somehow makes us not hear the words, and we feel, wow, it was nice, but that's it. We need to get deeper into that, the depth of the emotion that Adi Shankara is feeling. He was young. He had no business with that some old guy in Kashi trying to learn grammar. He had so many disciples, 14 disciples at that time, walking barefoot with him, or maybe, like sannyasis, well committed, 14 disciples, he's walking with them. But still out of deep compassion, literally maybe there are tears in their eyes, saying, what are you doing? That's why the tone is so touching. And we feel like, I just need to close my eyes and probably tears will flow. If you listen to the whole thing from the beginning till the end, you will feel emotional. And especially now because you know the meaning. You'll start feeling, oh, there comes another hammer, So again, this is the same. This person, this probably the renunciate, is sitting in front of the fire, Agre Vanni, Prishte Bhanu, trying to keep himself warm in the sunlight, or, from that's falling from behind, and the fire in the front. Okay, different ways. So that means this person is on the streets. And Ratro, at night, this person, Chubuka Samarpita Janu is, Janu is the knees, he's hugging the knees to the chest, and the chin is on the knees. That's the posture he's sitting in, because it's night and probably he's shivering, probably doesn't have any clothes. He's a renunciate. Then it said, Tarutala, it said that it's under a tree, he's sitting under a tree, Tarutala Vasaha. So he's sitting under a tree, and Karatala Bhikshus means Karatala is in the palms. Okay, he's taking Bhiksha. So this is a very picturesque shloka, wherein you can actually visualize a renunciate, a sannyasi sitting under a tree, probably basking in the sunlight which is falling from behind, or probably with a little bit of a fire in front with the wood sticks or something, and hugging his knees and chin resting on that. And for food, he is taking bhiksha in his palms. He doesn't even have a bowl, okay, for begging. Okay, all this is very picturesque. And tadapina munchati asha pasha. So even after this state that this renunciate has reached, where he is sitting under a tree with nothing on him, no bowl also to beg for the food, taking it in his palms, okay, karatala bhikshus. But still, tadapina munchati asha pasha. So even with all this imagination and the picture of this sannyasi, even with no food, no clothes, shivering probably, but still the desires have caught him like a noose. That's the translation. So it is very dramatic, the whole picture. But if you actually visit Rishikesh, Haridwar, just don't go into the ashram and say, oh, energy was good, and we'll do all that. But you need to actually take a walk along and observe. I've been there. So when you go around and you observe, you will see these sannyasis in different situations. And you will feel, oh my God, they are not fake, but their desires are still raging inside. Even if there is no food in the stomach, even if they have no food in their palms, even if they're shivering, the desires have not left them. So, and not only not left them, it is like a pasha. When we read Lalita, we understand Pasha, Ankusha, and all these things. Pasha is what, if you see the photo of Devi or Lalita, you will see the noose which she is holding. So then the noose, it's like a, fasi, the rope that is tied, okay. So that noose is there, that Pasha is there of Asha. So all the Ashas are bound to that human still. Even after this, all this has happened, everything is given up. Nothing is there with the person, but still the desires are there. So this is more of an, you could say, an address to the men, because it is more challenging for them to, rise above their base desires. Women tend to dampen their desires. It's not that women don't have desire. They dampen it by the love and the care that they give to their children, their grandchildren, and whatever. And they somehow, their desires seem to be little dampened. But honestly, it's not gone. So then they, direct it to food or maybe some other senses, if you observe. So this is the challenge, okay? And the picturesque, the picture that we saw right now of an ascetic and, sannyasi sitting in this posture and still not able to get away from the binding desires. Okay? So then there is one more thing that we need to understand, and that is self-denial. As we get on to the spiritual path, I have seen people, I have met a lot of people who say, chai chhod diya maine. I left tea, I left coffee. But you need to think if you left it or it has left you. Because if I leave it, then the desire is there, but I've decided I am on the path. I am going to leave it. And tea, coffee is a very small example. It could be drinks, it could be alcohol, it could be anything. I mean, any addictive things. So you will say, I left non-veg. We have done a big upkara on the animals by leaving non-veg. No. You eat what you want. You leave the attachment to that desire. Then you get all the stuff that those who are eating non-veg are papis, and I don't believe so. I don't believe so. I'll show you a lot of pure vegetarian who are big papis. Doesn't matter what you eat. Doesn't matter what you have, what you do. It's about these desires and the attachment to those desires which is a problem. If you go up and say, if there is no non-veg, I will die, then there is a problem. When there is an attachment to anything, there is a problem. What you generally do, you can continue doing. It really doesn't matter. But if I don't get tea, my God, I can't work today. Then understand that there is a problem. We make tea and coffee big villains. The tea, the coffee, the whatever is not a villain by itself. We became addicted to it. That is our problem. You remove the addiction and then you can have tea, coffee whenever you want. But if I can't have it, I can't function. Imagine what state are we in. That is the problem. That is the only problem. Attachment and addiction is the problem, nothing else. Nowadays, we can all leave tea, coffee. We can't leave our mobile, that is all. And our social media, of course. That is big food for us. Okay, the biggest food we can think. So then you understand that we also tend to get into self-denial, wherein we start saying, I won't touch this. I can't. Okay, I can't, which is good. I'm not saying don't do it. But then when you get enough self-control, now this is a challenge. This is for people who have actually moved on the path already. Okay, wherein you've given up certain things because you know you're on the path. Right? You could have given up some non-veg or something, some things. You can make your list. It's very good. It is self-denial. You look at it and say, no, I'm on this path. I'm not going to touch this. It's a good place if you know what you can do with that self-control, which has generated some energy for you. Now, when I say I'm going to fast, okay, I will eat only twice a day, not 5-6 times, only twice a day. Now, my body is going to generate a lot of energy. Okay, now this energy, which it has generated, what do I do with this? It will trouble us when we go to sleep. It will come as different desires because we generated some energy or just some, the strength within us because of the willpower we used. Now this is lying stagnant. We don't know what to do with it. So be careful when you get into self-denial. I don't want this, I'm going to renounce this and that and all this. Be very careful that when the energy is generated, you should be prepared to direct it in creative pursuits for self-work also. So be sure. That's why when they say, when you're doing upvasa, that's your fasting your stomach only. The rest of the senses are everywhere. Okay. That time they say, rest of the senses also you withdraw and sit quietly, meditate. That's the reason. Because when I'm fasting, my stomach is empty, I have more energy. We feel the other way around, but actually with the 2 meals I have generated enough urja, positive energy, but I don't know what to do with it. That's why they say meditate, read the scriptures and do all these things. Because, or you can do painting, you can dance, you can sing, you can do so many things. But Usually what we'll do is with that generated energy, we don't know what to do, and our desires fluff up more that time, because that energy gets directed that way. So be aware of self-denial, redirect the energy for creative self-application, okay? Or else you will be in the path of ruin. Because the energy is so much generated from whatever practices you do, and the self-denial brings so much self-control and everything, that with that you don't know what to do and you'll go and destroy yourself.